Remember how I said I was wanting to film our session and upload it to see, kind of go back and watch it again, have some fun, and document kind of how things went? Well, you kind of need to know how to film using Zoom before you can film using Zoom. So, alas, I face planted, critical fail on that roll, on the Zoom roll, right there. But I do know now how to do it. So next episode, I will be filming. I've got permission from the guys. They're all in, and I know what I did wrong. So that's good. Lesson learned. Apologies. This is going to be yet another recap. Okay, so this is episode 3 of my homebrewed campaign, Darkness Over Dragon's Pine. This was kind of the first session where the players were fully at level 1. In fact, I take that back. I had them do another encounter. They left Trollskull Alley, were on their way home to the various places where they were planning on going, and I had 2 of my player characters were kind of heading in the same direction, and one of them smelled something really delicious out of one of the barrels that line the alleyways behind a lot of the kind of taverns in Trollskull Alley. And he investigated, but he was not just completely kind of, off his game, because he's kind of a scrounger, so it made sense that when he looks in barrels and buckets and things like that, that he's a little bit aware, so he was not surprised. But as he looked inside this barrel, which was it looked like molasses rolling in the bottom of it when he opened it up, but it wasn't molasses at all. It was a swarm of rats. It's my swarm of rats, which is really cool. So it just kind of engulfed him. But he opened the barrel and he had a shield. So he did one of these things because he's, like I said, he was on guard. Probably creatures have jumped out of him in the past. And so he was able to not be surprised. We rolled initiative. The other players were not too far away, where they begin to kind of reconvene. And in fact, one of the rings that Taz was wearing, the ring that sort of alerts him if there's a dangerous beast nearby, gave his hand a little electrical tinge to let him know. So he's kind of putting 2 and 2 together there. So they beat the rats. Then they went home, slept wherever home is, leveled up. So then they started at level 1 officially. One of the player characters, Hayden. I've got it right here behind me, actually. No, not Hayden. Harlan. I'm still learning the names. Harlan still needed a spell book, so they all agreed to explore some libraries in Waterdeep, so that Harlan could find a spell book. They actually went back to Trollskull Alley, which had a small library up front. One of the earlier occupants in one of our earlier campaigns was a monk who was trying to get a place of contemplation set up, for meditation and study. And so he did have a small library up at Trollskull, but it was very focused on martial arts. There was nothing along the lines of what a wizard might need, or what anyone who wanted to find out more about what this potential prophecy is, or the quest ahead of them, and so forth. So they ended up leaving Trollskull. They went back to the House of Selyun, the House of the Moon, the Church of Selyun, which was interesting to me. I wasn't expecting them necessarily to do that, but I did have some stuff set up for them when they went back there, which you'll see next week when I upload the actual session. I've got some maps and things that I found, which are fantastic. But they ended up reconnecting with Shezo, the cleric, as well as Arbor, who was the young cleric that kind of first discovered them. Shezo was surprised to see them. She was expecting them to hurry up and get on their way with the quest. But they did discover that this church does have a pretty extensive library, as well as a a specific section for maps and exploration. Now, if you remember in one of the earlier recaps, when they first were given the quest, Shazo gave them a map, but it was just like, you know, it was basically like, here's a map, you know, go east. You know, if they have all these resources, why not invite them up to? Well, hopefully the guys aren't watching this, but okay. So I just had to cut this because I realized that if the guys watch this video at all, it's going to be a total spoiler for them, and so I'm going to do a little bit better job of not injecting the DM's vision into the player's game, because that would not be cool. So anyways, they find their way back to the Church of Selyun. They find that there's a library there. They interact again with Shazo and Arbor, and they kind of get shown the library. Harlan finds a spell book. Then they sort of, Shazo agrees to help the group get a better plan for how to get east, because they do have all of these actual resources in the library, including a room for exploration and a room of maps. And so all kinds of things that would be very helpful to a group that's brand new and moving out into the wilderness outside of Waterdeep to head to some unknown place in the east. And so, but they kind of get shuffled out. She says, meet us back here in a couple of days and we'll have a better plan for you guys as you depart. So the group they leave, and as they're leaving, they're heading back to a different library this time. They're going to go see to the Font of Knowledge, actually, which is hopefully going to give them some more information, since they kind of got hustled out of the Church of Selyun. They get jumped by the little Weasley guys that were beating up Groostruk in the first episode. Well, they went and got their friends, the thugs, and these are real thugs, and you can look them up in the monster manual. So beefy guys. But now we got 4 level 1 characters who now have weapons versus 2 thugs. It was gross. In fact, both of the encounters were gross. Taz and the rats, like he's biting their heads off and slinging their carcasses, and then like Elisar is like smashing them into the wall, and what else? Django like has this sling and he's just like pelting the little rat heads. It was gross. There's blood everywhere. And then with these thugs, it was also a massacre. I mean, they didn't really stand a chance. And Taz is a barbarian, and he gets a little ragey, and things get ugly. So these guys are going to be. They like to gore it up a little bit. We do have Harlan, who is still building out his spells. There isn't a cleric in the group, so that's going to be interesting as they move on. And as they pick up next episode, they'll be on their way to the Font of Knowledge again. So they're moving down. They're moving from the Sea Ward through into the Castle Ward of Waterdeep. So I don't expect they'll be accosted by anyone else before they get to the Font of Knowledge. And next episode, then they'll be kind of starting there. So I hope that's a good recap. Hope I didn't leave anything too important out or give anything too important away if the guys decide to tune into this video. So anyways, thanks, and I will see you all next week, hopefully with a functioning recording of our next session, which will be episode 4 in Darkness Over Dragonspine.